Welcome back to the Take What's Yours podcast. I'm with the boys. Got Riz, got Joey. I've actually got a man next to me that I'll let him introduce myself. Bro, if you want to take the mic.
Oh, my name's Sefo, or Izac Sefo, but I go by Sefo for rapping. I'm like 19 and I just started rapping.
That's our guy right there. He's from Canberra. Thought we'd jump him on the mic, let him jump on here, tell him a bit about himself, get him a bit of credit around, let him know that there's people out here that want to support him, and let him know that we're here for him, backing him in his career. So, boys, how you's been going?
Good, mate.
You good? You good, Riz? How's work been? Same old grinder. Joey?
Same old, bro. Just work, training, not getting up too much. Just trying to grow the brand as well. Planning some stuff for the second job. So
Yes, sir.
it's all coming together good. So
That's the way. Well, Sefo, I'll start with you, bro. Obviously, we said that you're in music, and you're only young, but sort of what got you into music? Like, where'd that sort of passion start? What was sort of the driving factor for you?
Bro, it started when I was in like year 9 and I was playing footy with fucking these blokes. we were playing Vikings and I wrote like one rap and I was just mucking around with it. I was in maths when I wrote it, bro. And I wrote it and then I was like, oh, this is mad, like just fucking around. And then like a year later I would listen to it and I'd be like, I don't know, I just thought
It was still mad.
It
was still a good track.
But like then I was like, oh nah, I reckon I could do this heaps. So I just started writing more and more.
Yeah.
And then I ended up with like, just in my notes on my phone, I had like 3 just like full pages of just raps. But I never did nothing with it. I just had it there. And then only like a month ago, I actually got into a studio because like I'm broke. And I found a studio at a youth centre. And shout out Street Uni in the city. They helped out heaps because they like, it's for people aged like, I think it's 12 to 25. You can go there free and just use the facilities. But the only thing is I can only book it in for like an hour a day.
Yeah.
So I can't be up late nights grinding. But,
Gotta get in there early, eh?
yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Just on to the studio.
Because we were at Melrose together
Yeah.
when I was in year 9, so you would have been in year 8. And even then you were still just running around, chucking out little bars here and there. But no, that's good. That's a good little... I guess it's sort of one of those things that just like music is whether you got it or you don't. Like I swear it's one of those passions. But do you remember his track? Do you remember the track he wrote at Vikings? Was it good?
yeah, it's always been good. Like I remember back in the day when we used to kick back in that. He's always been a good rapper, been able to freestyle on that. So I think now, like getting into it properly, like he'll be able to go a long way if he just sticks to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he's always been good at it. Like, you know what I mean? So like even just spitting freestyles out with the boys and that, like it's always been good. So
Yeah, that's one of those. I swear, with like people coming up in Canberra, it's sort of like hit or miss, hot and cold. Like they'll go through stages where they're pumping out sort of music left, right, and centre, and then they'll just go cold for like months on end. And you sort of just like, I guess if you want to sort of make it out of here, in the sense of like smaller population, not as much opportunity, you just got to be going. Like once you get going, you stay going, and don't have that break. But
Like with that part, like that's another thing. Like I don't even like, because I feel like heaps of people when they jump on it, they just think like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper.
Yeah.
But like when I started like rapping, like it wasn't because I wanted to like be a rapper. I just liked rapping. Like, even since I've been going to the studio, like it's like some of the boys, like they'll be like, oh yeah, well, I'll come, but they're not really like into it. But like I don't even find it like hard. Like I find it fun just going to the studio every day and just recording my shit.
So like with that, I guess the biggest question is because there's some people that like when they come into music, they sort of, I guess you look like, it's people over America and like the drill scene and things like that. They just wanted to stay underground. That's all they sort of they wanted to navigate. They just wanted to be like their hometown sort of, I guess, legends in that sense and not really go out. But like, what's the goal for you? You just trying to just keep doing what you're doing, and make yourself happy, or?
Well, the goal at first was just like I want to make music that I like to listen to, and but like when I realised like, oh, I could do something with this, like, I don't know, it just kind of aligned with what I was already like doing, just like, oh, I just want to pump out, like just get it all done, drop like a demo tape, a little mixtape or something.
Yeah.
But
has there been any like attention from, I guess, like higher ups, I don't know what the music industry looks like in that sense, but like has anyone sort of reached out sort of that looks like they know what they're talking about and sort of said, you know, keep doing what you're doing, or it's sort of just quiet right now?
Well, really the only one is the Turquoise Prince, bro.
Yeah.
Shout out to Turquoise Prince, because he's like the only person. Because even before, like I would hit up producers like trying to find a studio, and they'd send me like a message back, and then they'd just leave me on red, and I was like, bro. But Turquoise Prince, because he used to come watch our Vikings games, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and,
I remember seeing him. I wasn't playing, but I remember seeing him there. I mean, bro had, I swear, bright blue hair. Like you couldn't miss it.
Yeah, but he was like, he reached out to me and he was like, bro, like you're doing, like you got something here, like you could use that. And he was, because he's been through the industry and that, and he just told me like the mistakes he made and like how like trying to like keep me away from like making the same mistakes and stuff. Yeah. But he's been real good at it.
Yeah, people like that in your corner is as good as 100 people in your corner. Like they have that knowledge and that experience.
Straight up.
So that's good, bro. Like, I'm glad there's someone in your corner. But I guess another thing is too, with I guess making a change. Like in my life, I always remembered you as sort of the footy player, Sefo.
Oh.
But like, do you see any, I guess, transferable sort of skills mentality wise when it comes from going from like a sport sort of driven with goals, when you've got, you know, you were a successful little player locally, had some rep games and things like that under your belt, and sort of is any of that mentality sort of come over to music, like that grind, that routine, that discipline sort of thing, or just completely different game?
Well, it's interesting because like with footy, when I first started with footy, like it reminded me of how like when I started with this, because like I loved it and I was into it.
Yeah.
But the only thing with footy is like
you hate getting hit, or no one's gonna blindside you in the studio.
Nah, the only thing with footy was after like a couple of bad experiences, like with like I had like a coach that I didn't like. Yeah. It's not that I didn't like him, I just didn't like him as a coach. And then like some stuff with like rep and that, it kind of turned me off it, and then I kind of lost like my love for footy, which I don't know, it's kind of sad, but like I don't know, I feel like I'm a bit more like naturally into this.
Yeah.
Like footy was more just like, you know, growing up, like my dad like just chucked me in footy, and like I was alright at it, but like this is like way more, like much more like a personal passion. Just like what you're supposed to be doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's always a hard thing with I guess going into like rugby league or anything that's sort of like a team sport, is there's so many external things that can, I guess, throw you off that love, whereas, you know, you look at an individual sport or an individual passion like this, it's sort of, you know in your heart whether it's going to be something that you want to do or it's not what you're going to do. So that's good, bro. I'm glad that sort of, you know, you found in yourself that that's a passion that you want to like pursue, rather than sort of, you know, looking to make other people happy, or, you know, not living up to your total happiness. So that's good, bro. One of the other questions we've sort of got, which I guess you can slap me in the face if you get offended or anything, but I guess the big thing is right now we're looking across Australia, and the Polynesians are coming into the music scene strong, and they've held it now for a good couple of years. I guess for you, has your culture played a part in your love for music, or has it just been who you are as a person by itself that sort of led you to this point?
Oh, I don't know, because like obviously like most, like coming from like a Polynesian family, like you're gonna have like family that's into music and that. But like the kind of music that I've been making, it's not really like what like the norm and that as well either. Because even like on the scene, like it's mostly like bit of drill, bit of like that kind of like almost like reggae, like R&B vibes, like the like Jay King and that, like on that Cinderella stuff. But I don't know, because especially it's got to do with like my music taste as well, because all I listen to is like 90s underground East Coast shit.
Well, funny you say that, because me and Joey, when you put up your snippet the other day on Instagram, I was like, Joe put it up on his story, and I was like, the kid's good. And that's what we were saying, it's just that old school sort of vibe where it's like, you know, there's a bit actual flow to it, there's a bit of wordplay and things like that, rather than Shanks and Shivs lad. But
it's mad. Like,
yeah, 100%.
There's no like rap like that anymore, you know. Like it's all like faded out. Like since we would have been born, like before then, like it would have been
Yeah, there's real like that sort of wordplay went from going to like rap, and that wordplay sort of went in like early 2000s towards R&B, sort of that slow paced, real wordplay sort of thing, and it's just
like even a couple of years ago, like it just used to be like mumble.
yeah,
straight up,
bro.
But like,
Shout out Migos. I know they're watching.
With that stuff, but like, because I never really listened to it. Like, another thing I found hard with when I started trying to record music is this is something that they took was Prince Lad told me. He told me he's like, you gotta have a hook, bro. Like without a hook, like a hook is what will keep people coming back to the song. Like if you got a mad verse, like you can spit like mad bars, but half of it's gonna go over most people's heads anyway. Like they're not gonna listen to what you're actually saying. But a hook is what will keep them coming back, and that's when they can like pick up on what you're saying. So like with that like snippet that you chucked up on your story, bro, that's like the second hook I've ever written. Like I didn't know how to do that stuff, and when I was trying to sing it in the studio, I felt like a dickhead. I was like, I'm not a singer, I'm a rapper, bro. What am I doing?
That was actually all good, though.
Yeah, shut up.
Like it made like, I guess that would make a song make sense. Like you know, just sit there for however minutes, just spitting bars the whole time.
Well, that was like that's what I think. Like when you look back in that 90s like hip hop era, that's bro. You go back to then, you're looking at songs like 6 minutes, 5 minutes 30 of just bar, just going over to like storytelling. It was more like, but I guess the hook, like that, going back to that hook point, you got to have a hook. You only have to look at like TikTok for that. Like that's, you don't see fellas putting up full songs. They're putting up the part that you know, like. Yeah. They're putting up the part that's catchy. They're putting up the part
that's the part that everyone
that you're gonna remember. Like, there's so many songs nowadays where you don't know the title of it, but you know the hook, you know the chorus and shit like that. Exactly. So like that, I mean, it's so simple. We're all sitting here like, oh yeah, of course, but like but you don't think about that sort of thing. But that's the little, I guess, the skills that come with the trade once you get into it and things like that.
I guess that's like one of my goals as well. Kind of, I want to like, because right now it's like I swear like Canberra, it's like we haven't got like a solid scene either. We got like we got like a couple people doing this and that. But to be honest, like I reckon I'm better than all of you anyway.
That's what I like.
But like I guess like one of the long-term goals, or kind of, it's a bit hard, but I want to make like a scene. Or at least I want to contribute to a scene where like bars are like important, like saying mad shit that sounds gangster, like in a mad flow, but like that actually makes sense. And like you pick up on, you're like, oh, that's mad. Like I want to make that more like normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's like when I listen to music. That's what I love the most. Like being able to say if it's whether like being able to relate to like the words that are said. Like it actually means something, not just some like dumb song they're just saying all these bullshit words that don't mean nothing.
I like I guess coming from my perspective of like that, like I like being able to hear it and be like that's a life, like that's raw. But I like your style too, where you got the wordplay and things like that. Like I like listening to a song a couple times and you hear that certain lyric and you're like, oh, that's got a different meaning to it. Like I remember Childish Gambino, different, obviously really different style, but he was always throughout his songs. Jay-Z was good too for heaps of double entendres and stuff. We're not going to go into that. I'm just using that as examples, but they have like different. So like one of the examples I remember from Childish Gambino's, one of his lines is like, "I put the soul on the track like shoes did." And I was like, and I never sort of acknowledged it until I realised. I was like, oh, soles of the shoe on the track. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm a genius. But like that's the sort of thing, you're losing that sort of, I guess, those meanings and the like rawness, like storytelling with the wordplay and things like that, which sort of, I feel like that fits under your style that you're going for. And that's not, one thing that's not happening like mainstream right now, but definitely in Canberra, that's not happening either. But I didn't write it down, but I was actually scrolling through Instagram last night and I saw, I don't know, I can't remember the poor kid's name, and I'm not going to bag him out on here because he's doing better than me, but have you guys seen that? He's a little white fella in Canberra, he's like 16, putting up all those Instagram reels of him rapping and singing too.
I think I seen him in my studio the other day.
He's got like a fat horsey, bro, and like, he's got a couple, like, I was going through his Instagram, he's got a couple little shout out. I want to say his name's Jacob Rose or something. I think Rose is definitely his last name. But he's like a 16-year-old white boy, on Instagram just putting up like nearly every couple of days, just putting up a different snippet and stuff like that.
He's got
What's his
flows.
style?
He's actually got
Huh?
flows.
What's his style? 'Cause
It's sort of
I don't
like-
think I've even-
Oh, it's sort of like a couple of his things are sort of like that sad boy rap, and then some of his other stuff is sort of like street, like, you know, sort of what's common right now, sort of the drill scene and stuff like that. But he's got like good little flow. He just needs to sort of, in my professional music industry opinion, because I've got a lot of credit in it, just sort of pick sort of what style he really wants to go to. But I've seen him up there, and he's gotten shout outs off like big podcasts and like people sort of like saying that they'd sign him in a couple of years. But like that's other than you and him. Like I don't see anyone else in the like, and I like you more than I like him, and that's just what like I prefer. But like other than you two, I haven't seen anyone else sort of in Canberra trying to.
Oh, bro, I've seen like a couple little drillers. I just
tugging on
Like,
Maccas.
young boys or
nah, like blokes around my age even, bro. And I just think I'm like, bro, you're from like Canberra, bro. Like you're not out here chinging people. What are you doing? Like you might run around with
At
like,
Questacon, just
but like even
Run 'em
but
blind.
even for shit like that, like if someone wants to do it, I just think like if you're gonna do it well. Like don't just be like generic. Like if you're gonna do some drill, make something about it that's like someone's gonna come listen to you for it. But like most of the stuff that I hear, it sounds like everyone else, like just the same, like do a couple bars, stub a couple lads, bro, like stuff like that, and then they'll just have a hook. But it's just, and the music videos, it's just mask on. Like there's a couple lads who are doing I see like, oh, that's got mad potential.
yeah.
But it's just that like, it is. I don't know if it's because I'm biased, but it's just not what I like.
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
think
But I'm just like,
for the young boys, like with all this drill coming up, like in the last couple of years, they probably get heavily influenced by it, all that game type of shit, and then they just try to copy, and then with the masks, the knives, whatever. Like if you don't live that life, that person.
Yeah.
because people get found. Like you got to get found out, especially if you're living in Canberra. You're not
place,
you're not running blades through public servants. Like
Canberra is like nothing like anywhere like the rest of the world, like America or like even parts of Sydney, bro.
Sydney,
Like,
yeah, bro.
but like Canberra's like there's like obviously some places like
And there's definitely people doing real things.
yeah like
But,
there's like some like top ghetto places like especially down south side.
But even then, like,
Like it's not like there's like a couple people there. There's not like say a whole suburb. Like there's probably like a whole suburb.
gangbangers.
there's no suburb in Canberra that like I think to myself, like, geez, I'd hate to be caught alone there. Like,
Oh, some parts of some places in Canberra.
Yeah.
maybe
But you wouldn't
maybe
say
Lonsdale
like-
Street at 4 a.m. straight in the city. But I don't know. It's just me personally. Like,
There's not like massive gang.
nah.
Yeah, bro. Like, there's no you won't go to like a block in Canberra where like they're holding. Like, where you from, blood? Like, things like that.
Because the only like one I can think of is like Charney. Charnwood used to have that sort of represent. Like, but even now, like, I haven't heard of anyone like having any bad experiences up there.
No.
It's just commission housing.
So it's like random here, bro. Like you could you could be in the nicest area and like some random like prick will just start
Yeah.
something, but it's not because it's like a bad area.
Yeah, some
It's
random
because it's just some random
gold
prick,
falcon pulls up on
Yeah.
your street with different rims, bro. But it's actually completely off topic. But it's one of like, the things. Well, it's not off topic. But it's off topic of the music and pretending you're a gangster. But do you remember when COVID first came out and you first got like, your hours out a day? Like you were allowed to go out for 1 hour.
Yeah,
Like, bro, I don't know if you remember, but this was the only like time I believe like there was like a mass like criminal on the loose. Was during COVID, like a guy stabbed like 3 people during those hour breaks outside, and he never got caught. He never got caught. And like that's the only criminal I can think, and that was 3 years
I
ago.
didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, it was,
No,
I don't. He was going off the police report that I remember. He was a Asian man, apparently running around just stabbing people on the hour breaks. I don't know if COVID got to him or what, but like, because the only reason it stuck with me because he tried stabbing one of my family friends on their walk.
bro.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. He had he was
Just
walking.
for no reason.
Yeah, like just apparently was just walking, and like I remember correctly, the person was like sort of walking, and he looked at him because by that point it was like he was up to like 2 or 3, and he looked at him, he was like, Because that, like, he fits like the description. So, but he had like, I think he had a big Roddy or something with him. So he was like, he won't try me. Like, I've got like a dog. Tried him, bro, and like got it. Like, didn't get like actual like puncture, but like got like a nick of him or something like that. That's the only like time I can think. That's the only time I can
more
think.
like a crackhead, not a gangbanger.
Just taking an hour a day just to get out there and let loose. But that's the only thing I can.
It's got to messed up.
It was in his head, bro. But that's the only time I can think of, like, in the last couple of years, of a criminal.
Nah, there's like you can't say there's not criminals.
Nah, there's obviously like that's just
like I know for a fact, like we all know boys that have gone down and done like just gone like robbing and just stealing and dealing and that. But it's not like, it's just not like a gang culture.
No,
like
it's an individual.
It's just people making money illegally.
Yeah,
but you can't like. We're comparing it to like that UK like drill stuff and even like Sydney drill stuff. It's not like we got two gangs. Like the closest thing that happens is like when the boys will go brawl with someone in Northside.
Yeah.
But like that's about it. And that's not like even a gang. That's just,
and that's usually over footy. the boys have had a bit of argument on the field. But bro, like, what was happening in London? I can't remember the exact like statistics, but it was like multiple stabbings a day at some point, like earlier in the year.
The UK's bad.
Apparently it's like
it's worse than America.
Yeah, it's become like the stabbing capital or something of the world, where it's just like basically now if you go out and you look like, basically if you're in like a Nike tech outfit, right, you're getting stabbed from the sounds of it. But you compare that to here, it's just like you're going to Questacon.
Yeah, like here, like over there, some people will be born straight into that, but here people choose to do it and it's done.
Yeah,
You're not born into it.
It'll always be like two paths that you could take.
Yeah, like if you go down that road where you're just gonna end up locked up or having a shit life, always looking behind your back, seeing someone's like about to get you or something.
Yeah.
Like choose something else. Like try to be successful. Like people here, like there's some people that have had tough lives, but all that gang shit they choose to do it themselves.
Yeah, I think
it's a much clearer choice than like.
I think the big thing is too is like media perception has like success and failure as like such big extremes. Like if you're like living a basic life, like you're making money and stuff, like the media will say like you're not successful, like you've got to have millions of dollars, like you've got to be like doing all this crazy shit, and if you're not, you're just a failure. Like if you're coming from those like tough situations, you know, like what your background is or something like that, like being successful isn't millions of dollars and all the rest. It's, you know, you're going to your job 9 to 5, like you're making good money. Like you're not having the ATO breathe down your back because you just brought something with all cash. Like just, you know, you're trying your best. Like that's a successful life. But you know, people with like sort of where like music's at, what's being perceived, where social media's at, it's like if you're not making millions, just like you've just got to try and get to that point. So it's like you can see where the slippery slope is, but it's just not true. Like, and that's what Sefo said. Like you've got your two clear. And it's hard. It's always easy to say like you've got your two clear like choices, make the right one. But until you're in that position, it's harder. But it's still there. Like you can always see sort of those turning points, like easily. But you know, Canberra's not that place. But back onto the thing of music, I guess when you're looking now, and we've spoken about your style and sort of what your goals are. Sort of who's been like your biggest inspiration starting music at year 9? Who were you sort of listening to at the time? Like you said earlier that you were always sort of in the more old school. Like who were you listening to? Who's your favourite? What's your Spotify Wrapped looking like? top five listens. Like
Oh, bro, Nas number one. Nas.
Yo. Illmatic.
That's like my favorite album, man. But
did you make that when he was 18 or 16 or something?
I think he was 20 when he released it, but he was 18 when he was recording it. And that.
That's crazy.
But Nas, he's the greatest of all time, bro.
You reckon?
He's the best. It's up for debate, but
I
reckon he's the best. But like with inspirations, bro, like someone that like actually like helped me grow and like write my own raps was my mate Barfo, bro. Because me and him, we listen to real similar music, and he can rap like similar to I can.
Yeah.
And he's the only other person I know that does it like me. And so like I'd be with him and we'd be smoking, and bro, that's like where like heaps of my raps came from. Just me and that fool sitting there smoking a blunt. But the first person that really got me into like lyrics and that was Big L, because he just had punchline after punchline of just like saying funny shit that would just sounded like mad. But then I got into Nas because I thought he's like a poet, bro. The way he raps is crazy.
Yeah, that's proper wordplay.
And then I got into like Wu-Tang and that. But like everyone's always like known like the song Cream. Like everyone are like Cash, bro. Everyone knows that. But Inspector Deck in Wu-Tang, he's on another level. And then so that's probably my top 3. But then you got like just like random underground people from like New York. Like most of the stuff, because I went through stages of listening to them, but then I felt like they were too mainstream, so I wanted to start looking for something else. And now, bro, all the music I listen to these days is just on SoundCloud, and it's just like it'll be like a picture of like a record, like a vinyl.
just that like default photo that goes up.
No, like a photo of like the vinyl of like some 90s.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Shit like that, and that's like there's heaps of little underground ones. Like there's these blokes called like Dead Poet Society and stuff, but like people will never hear of them. But top 3: Nas, Big L, and Inspector Deck.
That's a good little top 3, bro. That's a good little 90s top 3, bro. I guess. Well, actually, Joey, because you're similar like music taste. What would you say your top 5, top 3 would be like?
I didn't know that straight. Yeah. Because I like heaps of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
But top 3, I need to know like Jackie. Tupac would have to be one.
Yeah.
For me, 100%.
He'd have to be in my 5 as well. Like there's no way you can't put him in.
Because like I was saying before, like I like the music that actually means something. Bugsy Malone.
Yeah, you do Fruff.
His music, bro. Like,
Fruff Bogs. Fruff
like
Bugsy.
you can just relate to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like his lyrics actually mean something. But I need to know that, like.
Actually, you know the story, but I'll quickly jump on that Bugsy Malone train. I was out in the city one night. Did I ever told you this story? I was out in the city one night, in like Civic Macca's, grabbing a feed, treating myself after a big night. And we were sitting there, I can't remember who I was with, I think it was Presty, and like the Tuggeranong soccer club here just won like the men's grand final, and I'd like taken the trophy off them and was like telling all these people that I was a part of their team and just won it and stuff. And I went up to this chick and I was like, oh yeah, like, just won this myself, got MVP, like I'm the big dog. And she started talking, she had a Pommy accent, and I was like, you know how like girls love doing the fake Pommy accents, so I was like, oh yeah, whereabouts in England are you from? She was like, oh, Manchester. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, like what are you doing in Australia? She was like, oh, just uni. I said, righto, show me your ID. Pulls out the ID, Manchester. And I was like, and she goes, do you know Bugsy Malone? And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, she actually is from Manchester. And she goes, and then she asked me, even stupid enough, do you know Manchester United? And I was like, yes. And she goes, my dad is the mechanic for all Manchester's players and Bugsy Malone. And she showed me the photos of her dad with Bugsy Malone working on his car.
Just remember you called me the next day.
Yeah, I called him the next morning, hungover as, and I was like, Joey, I've got a story for you, brother. But bro, it was like one of those, like, in its like full figures, what are the chances of that?
Yeah,
like you're in Canberra Macca's at like a godly hour, like 3 or 4 a.m. at least, and like that's who I run into, sort of thing, all the way across the world. But yeah, I love Bugsy Malone too. But that's my favorite. I want to say from like that sort of era of rap, I always loved Ice Cube.
Yeah, he was gang.
I just loved his wordplay. Like
50 Cent.
Yeah.
Oh, 50.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to froth 50 Cent, bro.
Right.
Who hasn't been through a stage of
Oh,
wanting to
I
be
remember when I
50
was-
Everyone has their G unit
When
at
I
the
was-
stage.
I was in like year 2. Like, I just wanted to be gangster, bro. Like,
Yeah.
when I was in year 2, I just had it on
Yeah.
some old ass Samsung, bro, with the buttons you had to type.
Like the Blackberries, eh?
That's
bro.
brutal. Alright, well, I remember at Delroy, like high school in Dubbo, we were like, fellas always just had the speakers going, horrible students, and bro, I noticed every day, like every time we were changing classes, the one song I would hear was "Changes" by Tupac, and I was like, I was like, it's a gun song, like it's like one of the best of all time. But I was like, how many times can you listen to "Changes" by Tupac in a day? And then eventually, like, I was like, I've got to see. And I remember like roughly just like taking a couple counts for each day. Like for I think it was like a week or something, maybe 2 weeks, so like 10 days. I would hear "Changes" by Tupac like at least 7 times.
You just described to me going to high school with Mark.
and like I love "Changes" by Tupac, but do I love it 7 times a day for 10 days? Like, and it's like it's not a short song. Like, that's a lot of time that I can't get back from Tupac, but he's not getting any time either. So, but like Ice Cube would be my number one probably. I always frothed NWA. That was always like that was my when I went through my like gangster thing was NWA versus the police department. But I don't know who else from like obviously Tupac. So easy
just
to say.
overall, like not even 90s, like just
overall.
Like, I wasn't even trying to say like
but we're just going off like your style. My favorite overall like rapper or musician would be Childish Gambino. Like overall, just because
he's got that soul way.
He can go through any style like well too. Like he's done soul, he's done rap, he's done singing. I think he's like an award winner, comedian, producer, actor. But yeah, that's enough for me, bro.
Oh,
90s all time, go for it.
Definitely like Tupac's in there because like he's got so many different styles. Like if I want to go to the gym, really pumped up, I can go there. But if I want to go to sleep, I can also play one of his tracks. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's
like Changes.
Pretty versatile. I think he's pretty versatile. But yeah, a new one like I've been Dave, but I've been into Dave like it's more newer than like them. But yeah, like same as you boys, like NWA, Eazy-E for sure. Like his leadership and like what he done for that era of like music. I thought like that was pretty gangster. Akon as well and 50 Cent. Like just.
Can't even put like.
Yeah, there's so many people, bro, and you say.
Hard. Like, I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah, you could say 10, and then the camera's gonna cut you.
Oh, Burna Boy, yeah.
Oh,
how did I not
bro.
mention
Yeah, you could say 10 right now, and then the camera's gonna cut, and you've got 20 more that you should have said that. Oh, bro, yeah, they're all just R&B too, that early 2000s when it was starting to pop off. Just the proper early 2000s. Chris Brown, he did some damage. I'm sorry.
He used to be my favourite rapper. Or favourite singer, whatever.
Favorite person.
That was like me for Drake, bro. My favourite, but
Can't be
I'm
trusted.
gonna say one people.
Can't be trusted. Oh, no. Can't be trusted. They're all industry plants. Bro, Doja Cat. Have you seen some of the shit she's been doing lately?
She's actually proper tapped in the head.
That's an industry plant. And I'm waiting for Ice Spice to get taken too. She's
With someone like Doja Cat, but I'm thinking like, are you like trying to represent like like you're a Satanist, or are you trying to warn us, like trying to show us like that all this shit is in the industry? Because she's not like subtle with it at all.
No.
Fucking full profile picture. And I'm like,
well, what was that? Was
surely.
it last year or something? She rocked up to one of those award ceremonies. Was that this year with the full red? Like she had like this red like jewels like from like head to toe.
Just see the cat thing that she wore.
Yeah, that
it's
was.
not actually a cat.
It's not.
No.
I'm not gonna get into it.
Oh.
It's like some weird shit.
Are we about to go down a conspiracy rabbit hole?
Save
Say that for another podcast. We'll jump on here, tinfoil on, and just start chatting. But like, but there's also like, there's a lot of people in the music industry. Like I remember one of the big things when like Post Malone started. He reckons he hated his whole first album, but he made it just because he knew it was gonna blow up. He was just like, I think.
Real industry top.
Yeah. So there's heaps of musicians where you're just like, Doja Cat was one of them. She just made music that she did with the help of who knows what, but made music like every song was just like, gonna pop off. It was good for TikTok. It was like it was just fit the right time. So there's like on top of the people that we're saying that we like frothed and like grew up listening to and all the rest, there's so many little singles of just like one hit wonders that have come like in between that we wouldn't even be able to like think of, but we probably smashed like play on it like easily thousands of times.
Yeah,
Bro, that's like getting into the music industry. Like I'm at like the very early stages. Like I haven't really got like a mad follower or nothing. But like I've been thinking, I'm like, bro, like, I wonder if I'm gonna try to recruit me, bro. Like try to get me to like influence people and shit. Like obviously I'm just like my mind's wandering. But like I feel like if I swear, if anyone gets like some actual noise around their name, that's something they should think of. Like, because if you got influence over people, like someone's gonna want to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's putrid. What? Some
Filth? Is it filth?
Like everyone's just hypnotized. They don't even know.
Straight up. Even with like that drill thing, like sometimes I think like, bro, there's no way that like, cause it's all up to the industry. Like the industry, it's not even in the hands of artists. Like what gets pushed and what doesn't, what gets put in the stage light, it's all up to the industry. And sometimes I think I'm like, bro, do they want people to like want to be drillers? Like, do they want people to be out stabbing each other? Do they like, but like any topic, even with like TikTok stuff, like, do they want people out there just like shaking their ass on TikTok? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I just think,
Yes,
bro,
I do.
That's a whole other thing you get into with like the algorithm, how it's like ours is way different to like, I think it's China or something like that, like what they see and what they put out. It's like to educate and all that sort of stuff. But here in like America and that, it's just dumb shit. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's like promoting stupidity. Yeah. Like they don't want you to be like some smart engineer or something.
Everything, bro. Like, anything.
It's the same with any.
It's stupid.
It's the same with like any industry. Like I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day because I saw that he'd done a podcast with Ice Cube. Ice Cube's doing a big. He's doing a big. The
big three.
Yeah, because he's doing a big podcast tour actually. Because he's so sick of the NBA not promoting the Big Three league, which is like, I don't know if you even know. It's like 3-on-3 basketball that Ice Cube owns and runs the league, and it's basically
they got like a 4-point shot.
Yeah, like it's like
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, but it's like everything that sort of like you want out of basketball other than the NBA. Like it's all the shit that you want to play. It's like 4-point like line, 3-on-3, first to, I think it's first to 50. Like, and it's like the whole point of it was he was saying on the podcast was when Kobe retired, like Kobe dropped 60 in his last game, and he was like, and that's it. Like that's the last you'll ever see of Kobe Bryant play basketball ever. And he was like, that's ridiculous. He's like, he can clearly still play basketball, but he just can't play it 5-on-5 in the NBA for 40 minutes. Like at his old age, like the quick turnarounds and stuff like that. Like that's the only thing stopping him was the the demands outside of it. And so he made this Big Three league, and there's like players in it that people love, like. Sweet. A bit of ADHD just walked past behind the camera. But yeah, like he's thrown me off completely. There's people in it that like Nate Robinson plays in it, like people that
like ex-NBA players.
Yeah, ex-NBA players that you still want to see like their highlights because they're still busting out highlights. But the NBA has full like blacklisted them. Like Ice Cube was saying that he'd reach out to players and be like, you know, you're promoting this when we started because it's been around for like 5-6 years or something.
I remember when it came out.
Like I've been following it for ages, and I was like wondering the same thing. I was like, I feel like this should be blowing up more than like what it is. But apparently, like, NBA players were promoting it, and then they just like stopped. Dead,
no help, eh?
Yeah, dead in their tracks. And Cube reached out and was like, well, me calling him Cube like I know the player, but reached out and was like, why aren't you? Like, what happened? Like, have we done something wrong? And they're like, nah, the NBA's just said no. Like, we can't. And I'm like, that's
so weird.
And that's what Ice Cube's now doing this tour because he's like, we've got to clearly do it ourselves. But like that's what he said. Like we're doing, it's the same sort of thing with so many other things in like different industries. He's like, we're doing something that, what is he doing? We've like, NBA takes up that 80%. Like it takes up the best of the best. Like your best, all your top leagues.
Tell him to shut up. Dante.
This is gonna be in the blooper reel, G.
Leave it in.
Kid brain, bro.
One of the best. Yeah, so he's like, NBA's filling up that like the big demand, and it's leaving 20% open for the rest. And the 20%, he's not stepping on the NBA's toes whatsoever. He's a mess. And they're not stepping on the NBA's toes or anything. They're not asking for funding. Like, it's being funded by sponsors.
It's just corporate greed, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He goes, he reckons, I'm not going to put words in his mouth. He reckons the majority of the GMs, like the general managers of NBA teams, love the idea. Apparently, heaps of the players love the idea. Everyone loves it except the suits at the top of the NBA that are running the show. And that's like, obviously, they're the ones you got to impress.
Well, bro, to them, the only thing that they see is money. And like, obviously, if anything has a threat of taking my money from me, I'm not going to allow it to grow.
Yeah. So it's been like full, like, and that's just the same thing as any industry. That's sort of where I was going with. Like, you can have the best idea that just makes like perfect sense, but like just because it makes perfect sense, it's going to be successful, and all the rest doesn't mean like powers aren't going to sort of stop it. So,
but I reckon money is one of the easy ones that you can see. Like, oh, that's why they don't want to give you because of money. But it gets a bit trickier when you get into like, oh, we don't want people to be like say with China, like they don't want people to be like smart. Like, I'm not saying China doesn't want people. But like,
I was like, where are we going with this?
Like, it's easy to see with the NBA one because it's like, oh, we don't want that. Like, we don't want any other company having any threat to our money. But it gets like real interesting when you get to stuff like influence and like I was saying, like, oh, we don't want people to be smart. We want people to think that they're drillers running around stabbing each other. Like, I don't know that, but it would kind of make sense if that was like that.
Yeah, there's those blurry points of like those grey areas of influence and sort of like where it's like not direct, but it's like sort of, you're still laughing. It's sort of like they're just sort of gently sort of pushing you in sort of a direction that like at the start you're sort of like, oh yeah, and then by the end of it you're all the way down there. But yeah, that's sort of, I guess that's all from us with questions wise. I've actually got here, not in my handwriting, so I don't know how that's happened. T-Riz is the world's sexiest man, trot. I didn't write that.
That's enough from you, Jack. Anyway.
Yeah. I didn't write that. That's not in Joey's writing either. Sefo didn't touch the book, so I don't know how that's gotten there. But boys, you got anything to sort of finish on? Any conspiracy theories?
Yeah. No, we don't. That will be here for another hour.
I just want to say a couple of things. If you could collaborate with anyone, like on the rap in Oz, who would you collaborate with?
In Australia?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, obviously, like, if I wanted to get my name out, 1-4 straight away.
Yeah.
But, bro, Spaniard, Spaniard's a gangster, bro. But, like,
that would be crack.
His old raps, bro, that was one of the other things that got me into, like, real lyrical rapping. Because when he first came out, like, when he was fresh out of jail, I remember I was in, like, year 8, watching his, like, fucking interviews, and he's like, yeah, box cutted this kind of the neck and that. But then I listened to his songs, bro. He's actually got mad bars, like proper shit. And when he got a bit more famous, like, I guess he kind of was like, well, I don't need to like make these mad raps anymore. But like, bro, if I could collab, it would probably be like Spaniard, but like on that real lyrical thing, because he's got mad bars.
That was one day too.
Oh, probably not my favourite. I reckon he's the funniest part, Spaniard for sure. But I reckon like favourite Oz rapper. Oh, I don't. Probably Spaniard, because I don't even really listen to like all the Oz rappers.
I reckon you'd be good with
Kid Lou.
or even like 046, how they're going.
Yeah, they got like that West Coast vibe.
I reckon you'd be mad on that, and the West,
Oh, them lads from up in Brisbane.
I reckon you'd be going.
Oh, sorry, bro. I just completely cut.
Finish off with freestyle one.
Oh,
Chuck a beat on.
I'll chuck a beat on right now.
Toll?
This is your moment. This is your moment in the sun.
I'll give you a little freestyle. Oh, one of my verses.
Yeah.
I'm like water, my flow carves valleys and mountains, and I spray off at the mouth just like a bubble of fountain. I'm on a mission to count money, making my verse stick like honey. While it's my mind crunching the rhymes, it's my mouth spitting them dummy lovely. No one above me, I murder my style, and I can tell that you're feeling it from the look in your face. It's foul, I rock them like a child to sleep, they snore loud, and when I'm done, I pick up the mic and go wild.
That was gone.
That was gangster, man.
Nah, I'm like water, my flow carves valleys and mountains.
Oh, bro, we'll be here for another 30 minutes. Take a note on it.
That's gone, bro. Straight out. You've got a big future, lad. Straight
Yeah, 100%. We'll just finish on the note of that. Like, yeah, we obviously support you. We're behind you 100%, and you know, hopefully this is something we can get back in a year's time or 6 months' time, and you're doing even better. And then
you gotta hook me up with the gears, bro.
Bro, we're gonna hook ourselves up with the gear. But yeah, so I think that's if no more questions, no more cues. Bro, it's been good. Been good having you on. That's all from us. Take what's yours, baby.
It's the podcast with the bro. Tell your name, your app.
SCB on SoundCloud. It's not just me, it's me and my mates. But I chucked up a song yesterday. It's called Where You'll Find Me. It's up on SoundCloud. So go suss that.
Next up and coming thing in the capital here. We're all supporting each other down here in the capital. So show him some love and go run him up.
No.
That's it, bro.
Chort!